the Pride. I'm Lisa Aligas, and you're watching Newsmakers. In this edition, we learn about a grant awarded to the Missouri Southern State University Spiva Library that created a health literacy series called Feeding the Pride. We will also get the latest on the MSSU Food Co-op and learn about the Library of Things. We begin our conversation with Library Assistant Director Amber Carr. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So you received a grant that has created a kitchen or so in the library for food education. Tell us about this grant.
So spring of 2023, the library was awarded a grant through the Missouri State Library called Spotlight on Literacy, and our focus was on health literacy. We were one of the 13 that were awarded a grant. We were the only academic library that was awarded a grant, and we were two that were awarded the entire maximum grant of $15,000.
Amazing.
Yes, which that allowed us to purchase a mobile kitchen that was fully equipped so that we could start our health literacy programming.
So what does that actually mean? You're offering some classes. What is the goal of each one of these classes for college students, and how can this help them when we want them to eat maybe a healthier diet?
Sure. So each session focuses on a different topic, whether that is reading nutrition labels or food preparation, food safety, different life skills that aren't necessarily taught in the classroom. And so we've partnered with the Missouri University Extension, and we have a representative that comes in and leads a discussion. And then each session, participants are also able to help out with the cooking demonstration. And then we get to eat whatever we cook. And then participants also get to leave with a bag of groceries so they can recreate that recipe then at home.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the class right now is small, limited to about like 10 or 12 students?
It is. Our classroom's small, so we do limit it to the first 10 students that RSVP.
So is there hope for expanding this in the future?
We're hopeful that by next spring we'll be able to expand it to not only our students but to MSSU employees as well.
Why pick health literacy as opposed to maybe another topic for your grant?
So health literacy, I feel like because the library we're very situated well so that we work with the Lion Co-op, we work on fighting food insecurity. We're also not just books anymore. We have a collection called the Library of Things, which has cookware.
We're talking about that in a moment.
Okay.
Save that thought.
Sorry.
We'll get back to that in a moment. Yes. So why do you think so many college-age students don't have cooking skills? Or is it common or a newer trend that maybe they haven't eaten at home? Is that an issue that we're facing?
I mean, I think anyone that's moving out on their own for the first time could always use some help learning some new skills. We also have some sessions that are about cooking in a microwave. So if students that are in the dorms and may just have access to a microwave, we've got them covered as well.
Yeah. Time or a lack of it is always an issue for students. So will one of your goals be easy or quick recipes so students can see these things as actually doable for themselves?
We do. All the demonstrations that we do are typically between 15 and 20 minutes. So whether that's a salsa or a quick muffin in the oven, they're really very quick and easy recipes.
So talk to us about some of the other topics you're going to cover in the class and why you hope that'll enlighten students.
So we also talk about budgeting, because it's important for students to know how to budget for their groceries, especially in today's economy. It gets a little harder and harder for that. But then we also highlight the co-op and have that accessibility there as well for those students that may need that little help.
Yeah. Is it hard to earn a grant like this?
Well, we were only one of 13 that were awarded it, and we were one of 2 that had the maximum grant awarded, so it is relatively competitive.
So tell us about your mobile kitchen. What all is included in there?
So the mobile kitchen came fully stocked with a little oven, a microwave. It had all the cooking utensils, mixing bowls, mixing spoons, and it was multiples of those things, so we can have a class of 10 and everyone can participate. So that's really helpful. We have a sink and everything. It's really great.
Well, let's hope they can expand to faculty and staff as well. in the
Yes,
future.
hopefully soon.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we return, we look at another food-related resource for our students found at the library, the Lion Co-op. Don't go away.
Homemade pancakes are a great way to start your morning, except it's 2 in the afternoon.
So this will be wet ingredients, dry ingredients.
And these pancakes are being made at the school. This is part of Feeding the Pride cooking demonstrations that take place at Missouri Southern State University.
I feel like before I started taking these lessons, I would only eat at the dining hall. I never cook in my dorm.
As for some students, going to the grocery store may not be an option. Lion Co-op helps with that.
Proper measurements do matter.
Not only, I didn't have the ingredients too, I didn't have the utensils too. And so this class gave me both of those because we get, to take home utensils and we also get ingredients to cook.
Students not only get a healthy recipe, they get to take all the ingredients required to make it, and also some free utensils. Like for this event, they got to take a measuring cup. But they don't just learn recipes.
Before we make the recipes, we have a little lesson about food safety and how to spend your money. And I think the most important one that I learned was how fast bacteria can grow on food. We had a little demonstration of how much bacteria you'll have on your food if you leave it out for 2 hours. And now I will not eat food if it's been left out for more than 20 minutes because it just grosses me out.
Lessons and meals that they can pass on to their friends.
I use the recipes that I get from these classes and then I remake them for my friends. For the banana pancakes, I invited 5 people over and we all made them again.
A sweet way MSSU goes about helping their students. For KGCS, I'm Yaneli Lopez.
Welcome back to Newsmakers, where we bring focus to food at the library. That's right, food is allowed in the library, especially as it is the focus of cooking classes. But the library is also home to an important resource for students, and that is the Lion Co-op. We're joined by Andrea Cullors and library intern Maddie Graff. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So the co-op was located in the storm shelter, but now it's all at the library. How does that impact access, do you think?
It's made a huge impact on access. So as you mentioned, we were in the FEMA emergency shelter over on the dorm side of campus for several years, and it was somewhat an isolated location, and so we never felt comfortable having just one student volunteer intern there. And so staffing it and making sure we always had 2 people there to keep it open was challenging. Also just the location, people didn't know where it was, and so we could say emergency storm shelter again and again, but no one could figure it out. And there were just a host of issues oftentimes. And now that we're in the library, we don't have to worry about having multiple students staffing the Lion Co-op at one time. We're fine with one student because there's all the other people in the library. It's an easy place for people to know where to receive the services and or to make donations. And there's just a constant flow of traffic in and out of the library. And so someone may not know about the Lion Co-op, but they'll see our signage or just see the service and then go in and explore. So it's just a much more welcoming, inviting atmosphere.
You certainly can't miss it now that it's there.
No, you can't.
But it also, have you seen then an expanded number of people using the co-op because it's now then more obvious, more accessible?
Yeah, I think definitely we have a much greater usage, especially for students that don't live on campus. So we did have students that lived on campus used us quite a bit when we were over on the dorm side because they knew where it was. And now we're able to really reach all students a lot more, whether they live in the dorms or not.
So Maddie, you're an intern with the co-op program. Tell me what you do as an intern and the students you see coming and going to the co-op.
So as an intern, I work the desk during our open hours, and then I am also doing things like grocery shopping, working on policy of the Lion Co-op, all sorts of things that they might need from us students. And I see all types of people coming into the co-op, a lot of international students and non-traditional students who need extra help that they can get. So,
have you ever utilized the co-op yourself?
I think I did my freshman year. I haven't recently, so.
What items are needed or always seem to be in short supply?
So the things that I see go the fastest are things like milk, bread, and produce. Those go like really, really fast.
Wow. And so you also, though, it's not just food, right? I mean, there are some kind of like maybe even cleaning supplies, personal hygiene. Are those important items to offer?
Oh, definitely. So for instance, say a student was eligible for SNAP, or what used to be called food stamps. Personal hygiene items aren't covered with that. Or if someone's on WIC, they are not eligible for personal hygiene items. So even if someone's receiving assistance for food, those other things are not covered. And just they're expensive. Laundry detergent's expensive, shampoo, soap, all of those personal hygiene things can really add up. And they also impact your quality of life. And so, if you can't afford to buy soap or deodorant or shampoo, that can really affect you, how you feel about yourself. And so making sure we have those things available is important.
So do students sometimes, Maddie, feel awkward or embarrassed about utilizing the co-op? And have we done things to kind of help them, realize it's okay?
I've seen a few students who look a bit out of place in there, so I try to like stay out of there so they can really shop on their own and kind of feel like it's kind of like a grocery store, and it does make them feel a lot more comfortable. And then after the first couple of times where all the like anxiety and confusion's gone, they seem to be a lot more comfortable using it.
Yeah. Do students ever make requests for certain items?
I haven't had a request yet, I don't think.
Sometimes they do. As Maddie mentioned, we have international students, so sometimes they may ask for certain things that maybe more for their cultural foods, or making sure that we have them. We do try to, as Maddie mentioned, we go shopping each week for produce, fresh milk, eggs, because those are things that students had been requesting. And so trying to make sure that they have access to those and not just non-perishable items.
So I know you often ask for donations. How can the campus community or Joplin residents help stock the co-op? And I mean, obviously then are there funding donations that help as well?
So we have different drop-off boxes located across campus. They can always stop by the Lion Co-op on the 3rd floor of the library and drop off non-perishable items, things like, peanut butter, now my mind goes like
ramen noodles,
ramen noodles, rice, all of those types of things are great. Personal hygiene items, deodorant, shampoo, laundry, soap. And then we love to get financial donations, because that allows us to go shopping each week for those things like milk, eggs, yogurt, produce that can be expensive and can be really hard for students to buy, but really help them have a healthier diet. And so the MSSU Foundation website, there's a link where individuals can make donations, or they can send a check to Missouri Southern, to the Lion Co-op. But financial donations, gift cards to Walmart or Aldi's, things like that are really helpful, so that we can provide that fresh food for students in need.
How did we know that there was a need for all this? I mean, have you surveyed? Do we know that there's a lot of students going hungry?
It kind of came about in pre-COVID, so I want to say 2017. I'm part of the kinesiology department, and we did a survey with the students in university experience and lifetime wellness, and that's when we saw that about 25% of students reported being food insecure at some point during the year. And so that's really what got it started, is seeing that. And then we continue to kind of survey and seek out information from students. A research project I was recently part of that surveyed universities across the state that Missouri Southern was included in, the number was 47%. And this was the year after COVID. So 47% of college students in Missouri reported being food insecure.
Wow.
And that's both like food, having food, but also quality of food. And so, am I on a ramen noodle diet? That's not how we want to be eating. And so that's why it's so important to us to provide really healthy, nutritious food, so that students can perform their best in the classroom.
Yeah, a lot of people don't think students will eat produce, but when you go without it for a long time, you realize, oh, this is really good and good for me.
Yeah.
Maddie, tell us about why do you like being involved in the co-op? I mean, how does this apply to your major as well?
I like being involved with the co-op because I think that there's such a need there that people don't really understand. And social work major is all about advocating for individuals who need help. So I think that being able to, even just working the desk, like allowing people to come in and get what they need, I really do enjoy doing it, and I'm excited to see like how we can improve the Lion Co-op, or how we could kind of make it more accessible for people, things like that. So.
Now, have you also taken advantage? I know we're going to be talking about the Library of Things. Do you ever take advantage of those things at the library as well?
I have one time. I checked out pots and pans one time when I didn't buy them before school, so yes.
All things that students might need that you don't really think about.
Yeah.
So do you live in the dorms?
I do.
So is it sometimes, I mean, do you ever feel like you need food other than people living in the dorms, other than the cafeteria plan? Or are there times when students might need other things because they can't make it to the cafeteria? Is that often a factor?
Yeah. So we do have like certain hours, and in between those hours, like, you know, people can, maybe they have class or they're sleeping or something, and then you also get a certain amount of scans. So I have 10 scans a week, and you know, that's only 10 meals a week, and people need more than that. So yes.
It kind of is a good supplement then
Yes.
to that. Are there rules and restrictions for using the Lion Co-op?
You need to be affiliated with Missouri Southern in some way. So you can be a student, an employee, however you fit in those categories, but you are required to be affiliated with Missouri Southern.
But there are no income guidelines.
No income guidelines. We do ask that users take what they need for 2 to 3 days, and that if it's a really high demand item like milk, eggs, that they take just one container, and then they can come back in a few days and get more. So we kind of ask that people be considerate of other users, because everything is donation based, and so it isn't why we set it up, and it may look like a grocery store. It isn't a grocery store, and so just to be mindful of that. But otherwise, there's no income, no usage requirements. We just really want everyone to remember it's a shared space.
Yeah. And you've worked in tandem with farmers markets to try and get some of that fresh produce as well. But of course, it's seasonal.
Yes, and that is, I think, why we try to go shopping weekly, because produce doesn't last. And so we do also partner with Ozark Food Harvest, the regional food bank. And so once a month they may deliver produce, but it's on a Friday, and oftentimes by Monday it's not any good. And so it can be challenging to keep fresh produce in stock. But when we have it, it goes pretty fast.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for sharing all this information about the Lion Co-op.
Thanks for having us.
We're going to take another break, and when we return, we learn about the Library of Things helping support students on campus. Don't go away.
I think it's a pretty cool deal. I wish that a little more people knew about it, because I think that it could be a lot more helpful as far as helping those students.
Kevin is a volunteer at the Lion Co-op. Even though he hasn't used it yet, Kevin has 3 kids of his own, so he knows the value of extra food and pantry items.
Sometimes people feel a stigma about coming to a place like this. But there's no, there's no judgment here about the things that you might need or want for your family or for your dorm or whatever's going on. That's one of the things that keeps some people out, as far as research suggests. But if we could, project that image that there's no judgment. We don't even track like who takes what. It's not like that. We just track inventory so that we know what we need later.
That's part of the job for J.P. Rutledge, who's both a volunteer and an intern with the co-op.
It's a good access point for students, because a lot of students go to the library to study, and since there's a lot of non-residential students who go to Missouri Southern, we have an access point there on the main campus.
And those things are flying off the shelf, I heard today, so we're hoping that with more knowledge about how it works, the more interest students would have.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea, and I think already we're seeing how popular it is with the students. It's just, like I said, it's a really easy access point for students, and so I think it's a great idea, and I think it's going to grow more and more each year.
Welcome back. Libraries are for books, right? Well, we've already seen how Spiva Library here at Missouri Southern is home to resources from cooking classes to the Lion Co-op. And it also offers the Library of Things. Joining us with more on what's available in the Things Department are again Assistant Library Director Amber Carr and new to our show, student Haley Smith. Thank you for both being here today.
Hello.
So we're glad to have you. So let's talk about this Library of Things. So Haley, you've been an assistant at the library. Tell us, what are some of the neat items that we can get in the Library of Things?
For instance, you can get a fishing pole. Like, you can get a tackle box and a fishing pole, and you can go out fishing on a nice day. And then they have a drone over there, so it's pretty cool. And then there's a whole bunch of kitchen stuff, so like if you live in a suite in Lion Village or in the quads, you can check that out and use it at your own dorm instead of going to Walmart and paying like $500 and a whole bunch of like kitchen utensils.
Right. That you have to pack up then and move home some later date, and it may not fit in your car. So tell us what you like about having access to those kind of things. Why do you think that's good for students?
I think it's good for students because like not a whole bunch of students have resources like that can just easily like go to Walmart and buy those things. Instead, it's right there at the library across the street, which is really nice. And they can practice cooking instead of burning the place down.
Amber, what has been the goal of having a Library of Things? I mean, why have libraries kind of migrated to these hands-on kind of tools?
Sure. Libraries, we are all about the service. So we do know that patrons need more than just books. They need tools, they need electronics, technology, cookware, bakeware. They need all sorts of things, and resources can be limited. So having the ability to go and check those out instead of purchase them has really been beneficial.
Is there a trend toward having things, I mean, are there sometimes a demonstration needed, a how-to, when it comes to some of these Library of Things?
That is not something that we've thought of, but that's an excellent idea, and maybe we can do that in the future.
Do students already know how to use what's in the bag?
Most things. We do have crafts also, so we have like knitting and crochet. Some of those do come with like a little helpful booklet that may have a QR code to a video, but that could be something that we could look into. Most people know how to, use a picnic basket or something like that, but there are some things that might be helpful.
Does this kind of replace DIY books, or is it kind of in conjunction with them that we would have these kind of items?
I think it's definitely in conjunction with those things, because there's a difference between wanting to read about something and wanting to actually do something. So then you can read about it and then you can go and do it. And that's really what the Library of Things is there for.
What are some of the other things we might find there?
Oh goodness, we have a lot of small kitchen appliances. So not just the cookware and bakeware, but we have a lot of small kitchen appliances that can be used in the dorms, and we did double check with that. So you will not find any open coils, but we have blenders, we have a little toaster oven, we will have an air fryer and an Instant Pot, lots of different small kitchen appliances, and lots of games and puzzles, because everybody needs a chance to relax and go and do something fun. So we have lots of different things.
So let's talk about, these are just one of the resources. I mean, Haley, you've been here, now you're studying for your master's. Tell us a little bit about the Lion Co-op and having these resources. Why are they helpful for students?
First of all, I think the Lion Co-op is like amazing because we get donations, and Ozark comes and donates their stuff. And like I said, some kids don't have a lot of money. And also some kids don't have cars to go to the grocery store, and it's right there across the street. And I've seen multiple people use it, and it makes my heart happy because like we have that resource here at this school that they can just go over and grab like peanut butter. We even have like frozen food now, and like cheese, milk, eggs, and those are like needs, not wants. Those are needs whenever you cook, because people need protein and dairy and all that stuff.
So you've taken some of the classes. What do you like about those?
Oh, they are so fun. First of all, you get to eat. Like that's always good. It's just amazing because I've learned stuff too, like eggs. Like if they're like, oh, expired like July 18th, those can last like up to 50 days. So you don't have to throw those things out. And then also reading labels and stuff like that. Like you're like, oh, well, that's like 50 grams of sodium right there. I probably shouldn't eat it. Like how to finance and
What's
stuff
your
like that.
favorite thing that you've cooked so far?
Salsa. I like
Homemade
salsa.
You like salsa?
I like it a lot. It was really fun, except the onions. The onions wasn't fun.
Yeah.
I think everybody was crying in the because it was so strong. Because 420, it's like a classroom setup, so like there's not a whole lot of
ventilation.
space. Yeah, so those onions were really strong. But I think the salsa was fun. We've also done like smoothies, which is really fun. We've done like chicken noodle soup, I think, right? And
So
then,
you've taken advantage of this class.
yes, I have. It's really fun because not only do we get to cook, but we get lessons.
Talk to us about how you've seen students coming in and out of the library and how it does impact them to have things like these resources, the Library of Things and the cooking classes and, and the co-op itself.
Well, I think it's definitely a good impact on them. They come and go from the library, not only like learning information from books, but from cooking classes and like the Lion Co-op, like learning new things about that and like what they can get from there. Also Library of Things, like who would have thought a library would have a drone?
How important is it to have some life lessons while you're at college as well?
It's really good because in high school you don't get a whole lot, so when you come to college, there are these classes and clubs way more than what you've had in high school. So, like, I didn't know that you could leave chicken unthawed in the refrigerator for 1 to 2 days. I thought you, like, had to defrost it and cook it right away.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think you could do that, so.
So she mentioned a drone. Amber, is there any worry about breakage of these things in the Library of Things?
Of course there is, but in order to be able to check something out from the Library of Things, everyone has to read and then sign a waiver. There is a replacement cost if one of those things happens to get broken and that kind of thing. So we did try to plan that out through our policies and procedures.
And then are these items purchased or donated or both? Or how do you access all these things that you've brought to the library?
So we have purchased quite a few items, but we've also had a lot of items that have been donated. So it's really been a combination of both. Miss Deanne Eisenhower, our cataloging and technical services librarian, she really kind of started the Library of Things through a donation from her family. So that was really great to get everything started, and then it's just grown between other donations and additional purchases.
Where do you see the library going in the future? I mean, is it always kind of developing and morphing into sort of a different kind of resource?
Absolutely. You know, everyone's needs change, technology changes everything, so we're always trying to stay with the flow and try to plan of what are people's needs going to be and how can we help bridge a gap somewhere, because I think that that's really important. Libraries are service oriented. We want to help fill those gaps for people.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for talking all about it. We appreciate it. Thanks to all our guests for sharing information about the great resources available at the Spivey Library on campus, and thank you for watching.